Good morning. It's time for a Monday book talk, and because we didn't do book talks last week, I have a lot of books to talk about. So I'll try and be swift so I'm not overwhelming. I started my journey 2 weeks ago with the Hamilton book. So, like many people, the first time I got to experience Hamilton was this summer when it came out on Disney Plus, and then I experienced it again and again and again and again and again because I really enjoyed it. I love musical theater anyway, so no surprise. I love historical fiction. I mean, it was a win-win for me. This book is all the lyrics in the show, Lynn's notes about the lyrics he wrote, and also some background information about the show and how it came to be, and the people who are in it, and the people who created it, and costumes, and the lighting, and the choreography. It looks like a really huge book, but because most of it is song lyrics, it's really not, and it was really good. Of course, I sang all the songs in my head as I read the lyrics because, again, I've seen it and listened to this soundtrack way too many times now, but it was excellent. And then because I was all about all things Eliza, Schuyler Hamilton, I read these 3 books. Starts with Alex and Eliza, Love and War, and All for One. So it is a trilogy, historical fiction, about Alex and Eliza. And it was nice to revisit the characters. Of course, it's also fiction, and some details have been changed, some details have been augmented, they've been rearranged for the author's purposes. So some of the children and some of the scandals maybe happened at different times than they did in actual life, and definitely at different times than they did in the musical. But again, both of those are works of fiction, so you kind of have to expect that. It was nice to revisit the characters. It was nice to see a little bit more of Eliza. It was nice to get to know her better, so to speak. It also, as most historical fiction does, spurred me to do some actual research. So I learned even more about her because I was interested. I was interested in the places that they lived and some of the actual history and the timelines. So one of the things I love most about historical fiction is that it fleshes out a time period for me, and it also makes me curious. And so then I can do some research on my own. I can go to historychannel.com, and sometimes I start at Wikipedia and then move on to other sites that Wikipedia has sourced as their references because I want to know more. And that's what's great about a good book, is that it inspires you to search out information. And because I was interested in revolutions in general, I read next Jennifer Donnelly's Revolution, which is about the French Revolution, which I really didn't know much about. I mean, we all know about, Let Them Eat Cake and Marie Antoinette losing her head. But there's a lot more to it than that, obviously. And also, their revolution did not go quite as smoothly as ours in America did. And so this is really good. So it's set in modern times. But this girl finds a diary in an old guitar case. And the diary is from a girl who was living in the revolution in Paris. And so she's reading the diary, and we have her story and then the girl in the diary story. And she's trying to work on a research project about a guy who composed music during that time. There's a lot of overlap between the two. It was really good. I love Jennifer Donnelly, so that was a good start. I learned a lot. I actually, when I started reading it, it felt very deja vu-y because, in fact, I had read it before. But it's been like 6 or 7 years, so I thought it wouldn't hurt me to read it again. And I think I probably really did absorb a whole lot more this time because I was ready for it. And then, because last week was Halloween, and I'm all about seasonally appropriate books, I read these books about witches. So, Once a Witch and Always a Witch. It's just 2. There's just 2 of them. They're so good. I do like a good witch book anyway, but these are especially good. So there's a family of witches. You know why I thought it was especially good? Because there's time travel. There's time traveling witches. My 2 favorite things. So if you like a good witch book that's not really gory and it's not really gross, they're not in horror. They are in horror. In fact, I moved them to horror. That would be me. Because they were in fantasy. Because they're not really horrible. Like, there's not blood and guts and gore. But they're about witches. And that's a horror theme. So we moved them to horror. They're really good. I highly recommend them. And then Shadow Society, which is in sci-fi. And it's a multiverse book. And so multiverse means like there's our universe and we live in it. And then the same people live in a different universe, but they've made different decisions. The theory behind multiverse is usually every time a decision is made, there are two paths, and one universe takes one path and the other universe takes the next path. I'm not really sure that that's exactly, I say how it works. How do I know how it works? I don't know how it works. But I do know that I love a good multiverse book, and this one really was good. And so this girl is in foster care. She's been in foster care most of her life. She doesn't remember anything before she was 5. And things seem, normal-ish until she's about to get shot, and she sort of shimmers out of existence. She's like, wait. First, I did not get shot, and second, what the flip just happened? And so we spend a lot of the book exploring what just happened. That happens pretty early on, so you've got a lot of time to explore what's happening. I really, really enjoyed it. And so if you like multiverse books, weird things happen, there's more than one universe and they're connected, sort of paralleled, you might like this too. So hopefully you'll come check out something I've talked about or something else. If you want to talk books, come talk to me. I'm always ready for a new book. Thanks, guys.